Hey, 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 welcome everybody. Welcome to Crypto Night in Canada. Dun, 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 dun. I see everybody here tonight, and we got an awesome friend and new friend and guest, Mario from Mario Gibney. Is that how you say her last name? I think so. Director of Community for Ledn. And we're so excited to start talking a little bit more about the Ledn platform. For those of you that know, you all know that Tim and I have had our crypto held in BlockFi, but we have talked about learning more about Ledn, and we thought, well, if we're going to learn about it, maybe you all want to learn a little bit more about it as well. So and
just for full disclosure, Mario, I believe, was with Len and Joy a couple of months back on their show with the Canadian Bitcoiners. So I'm sure there's some things that may have changed since then, Mario. So I mean, we'll probably unfold that and unwrap that as we go on. But welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time to come on.
And we got a bunch of people in the house. Hey, Ryan, how are you? And Marie Claude is here, Nikki, Jason Spooner. Obviously, I see Candace. This is fun, and Len and Joey. So let's jump in. We should have Ken should be coming on in a few minutes as well, and to join in on the conversation. So we'll pipe him in when he gets in. And so there's lots and lots of really cool things with the Ledn platform. So we thought maybe we would have Mario
just introduce yourself and just let us know a bit about the company. We have sort of skipped and jumped over different types of companies, platforms, options, and stuff like that. But as I mentioned sort of in our preamble and when we were sort of trying to set this up, this is more a night for you to sort of tell us more about Ledn, and we're going to just unwrap it from that point.
Yeah.
If that's awesome. Okay with you. Yeah.
That sounds great.
It's in your ballpark.
All right. Thanks so much for having me on. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. You guys gave me a pretty good intro already. My name is Mario Gibney. I'm Director of Community at Ledn. I've been involved in the Bitcoin space for just over 5 years now. I used to work at Blockstream and joined the Ledn team in spring this year. Having spent a couple years as a very happy Ledn client. So they scooped me up back in spring. And so Ledn is, just to give an overview of the platform, we offer basic financial services for your Bitcoin and your USDC. So our most popular products are our interest accounts. So you can deposit your Bitcoins with us, and we're able to offer you interest on them. So the interest is paid out monthly, and you can withdraw your coins at any time. It generally takes about a day for them to get withdrawn, and we offer 6.1% on any Bitcoins you deposit. And that's up to your first 2 Bitcoin. If you own more than 2 Bitcoin, anything above the first 2 is 2.25%. And for USDC, that's American dollar stable coin, you can get 9% on our platform. And then we also offer trading, so you can do swaps between your USDC and your Bitcoin, and it's no free trading, just instant swaps. You can continue to earn interest on the assets, so you can it's really seamless between Bitcoin and USDC. And then we also do loans. So if you hold a chunk of Bitcoin and you want quick access to dollars, but you don't want to sell your Bitcoins, either you expect the price is going to go up, or you don't want to create a taxable event, you can deposit your coins with us. We'll issue you a dollar denominated or a loan denominated in US dollars or USDC, and then once you pay back the loan, we release your Bitcoin back to you. And then one of those loans we call the B2x loan, which is for people who want to double up on their Bitcoin. You can deposit your coins with us, and we will still issue you a USD denominated loan, and then we just automate the purchasing of more Bitcoin with that in the background. And so it's for if you're feeling quite bullish, it can be a way to just make the most out of the Bitcoins you're already holding. And those are our services. We are based right here in Toronto, and have been operating for about 3 years now. And I'm looking forward to digging in.
Awesome. So I know that it's one of those things that the first thing that comes to mind, and I'm just going to ask questions as if everybody on watching is new. And
Perfect.
so I'm going to ask you as if I'm new and I'm trying to learn and all this stuff. So talk to me. The number one thing I hear from true crypto folks is they use the term, not your keys, not your crypto. And so I know when we first said,
not your crypto.
Yeah, no, it's not your,
not your keys, not your coins.
Not your keys. That's what I thought I said. Did I not say that?
No, he just said that.
I thought I said not your keys, not
It
your
was
coins.
close enough. We understood.
Close enough. Everybody
Horseshoes for
understands.
hand grenades, close enough, right?
Anyways, so what I'm and I got a lot of these questions when we first started doing YouTube, because we were, as I said, we were in BlockFi because that's the only one I'd heard about. And so what I'm trying to understand is, how do you get over that hurdle of people who hold crypto and make those kinds of statements?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, to give a full answer, I want to give a bit of background on like where that "not your keys, not your coins" came from. Anyone who's been in the space in a while has heard of what happened with MT Gox back in 2013. This major exchange that went insolvent and lost a bunch of people's coins, and anyone in Canada will know about what happened with Quadriga about 3 years ago. Just because this new financial system was being built out of nowhere and kind of outside the existing regulatory structure. You had a lot of, it was the Wild West in a lot of ways. And a lot of people were, holding their coins on kind of sketchy, poorly run platforms. And the risk was just not worth it when there was tools that people could use to directly control their coins. And It's only been in the last few years, prior to the existence of these, of Ledn and BlockFi coming out with these interest accounts. I only held all my coins on my own kind of hardware wallets. Now I am comfortable holding most of my coins with Ledn, and that was true before I was hired. So there are a few reasons why I think it's going to make sense for people to be comfortable. First of all, there's a trade-off here, right? If you want to get yield on your coins, you're paying for essentially a certain amount of risk, and you're not going to be able to generate yield with your coins sitting in a hardware wallet. So you are giving up some of your own self-sovereignty in order to get that yield. But we do a lot. We work very, very hard to make that trade-off as painless as possible. So we're committed to operating in a transparent manner. And the number one thing we do for this is we do a system called proof of reserves. We partner with a top 25 accounting firm called Armanino LLP that offers proof of reserves attestations, which is twice a year. We will open up our books to them after anonymizing user data so we can maintain our clients' privacy. And they will go through all our books, count up our assets, our liabilities, and make sure that everything is in order. And then the clients can independently verify that their funds their holdings are properly accounted for. What you do is you can log into the Ledn platform, and then you can get a hash client ID, which is essentially a really long alphanumeric string, a long number. And then you go to the Armanino website, there's a handy link there, and you put it in, and they don't know who you are, but they know that associated with this key, there is a certain amount of funds that are properly accounted for on the platform. And so what this does is it makes these kind of worries of, the reason people say not your keys, not your coins is they're worried about, a poorly run business that maybe doesn't have the funds that it claims it does, or it has kind of spent its users' funds. That's not really something we can do, because twice a year we have an independent firm audit all our, I guess I should call it an attestation, not an audit, but they go through our books, and it's just simply not plausible for us to do that. So that's one of the things we do to really put our clients' minds at ease. The other thing is we make sure our communication lines stay very, very open. Our team is very accessible. We have consistently the highest rated support team in the industry. You can look up our reviews on Trustpilot. Like, if you want assistance, we answer you generally within a few hours, like within a day. We're very, very proud of what our client success team is doing there. So I'll stop talking for a bit and let you ask some questions.
No. That's really, really good. And because that is one of the things that makes people concerned. And so when I looked at using BlockFi, and I'm sorry for doing the comparison, because I'm actually really thinking of making a move and moving over to your platform after we did some of our own research, and we encourage everybody to do their own research. But one of the things that we liked about BlockFi was that it was backed, it was insured, like there was some insurance on it so that we didn't have to worry about it. What you're offering that's slightly different, and I'm not sure if you have insurance or you don't have insurance on the liquidity on the Bitcoin that's held there, is that at least you have transparency and you can verify that your funds are still kind of there.
Yeah. So at the moment, there isn't really insurance available for the type of business model that we offer. Some of the coins are insured. We use BitGo as our custodian, and funds stored on there are insured. But you have to remember Yeah, like because of the nature of our platform, we need to be lending these coins out,
Right.
and most of them are lent out through our partner Genesis, who has been like kind of industry leader here for the last 5 years, and they're also highly transparent. Like they publish, quarterly reports you can review and stuff. But the coins are lent out through them, and
Yeah.
so there is insurance available for them at the moment. So yeah, you're absolutely right that it's simply not possible to provide the same type of FDIC insurance that you can have on your on your dollars, but we do honestly we pull out all the stops for what is possible given the state of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as a whole today.
Yeah, no, that's good.
One of the things that I noticed about Ledn compared to all the others, Celsius or BlockFi or whatever it is that I'll call it your choice of coins too, where everyone else has a list. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, we are very, very conservative in general with what products and assets we roll out, which meant that we've been able to deal with the regulatory environment with ease. Honestly, we've been really ahead of the curve there. But part of that also means that we're very, very cautious about what coins we want to offer. It's very tempting for all of these institutions to just add a laundry list of any old token because there's money to be made there. From people trading between them. But every time you're doing that, you're stretching, engineering resources thin. Each new asset is a new security concern that you have to deal with, and we also we're not just in this for a buck. We want to offer assets that we are confident are going to be good investments for our clients. We, of course, we do not offer any investment advice ourselves, but when you have some company adding, any old token, I think that it is irresponsible in some ways. So no, it is quite deliberate that we are quite cautious about what assets we offer. So at the moment, it is only BTC and USDC. We do get quite a few requests for adding Ethereum, which is something we're looking into for the near future. But no, we have no plans to add, cryptocurrency number 1,000 or anything like that. It's as tempting as it might be. I on a personal note, I think that's a really short-term thinking for companies to be doing that.
And I think the other thing is that I don't know much about the business itself and your business and Ledn and stuff. But I mean, when you start to, as soon as you say Ethereum, I mean, yeah, it's one of the top flavors of the year in coins, but the gas fees are killer. So obviously, there's got to be something, whether it's on your end or the consumer's end, that's really going to knock the bejesus out of their investment. Potentially, if they're not long term.
Sure. I mean, fees are. This is an interesting topic. I wasn't expected to dive deep on this, but we can do it. No, not at all. It's a great question. The thing is, Bitcoin also gets high fees as well. And just due to the nature of Bitcoin's security model, fees will need to continue to be high in the coming decades. That's just going to be something that we'll have to deal with on Bitcoin and probably on USDC. It's just part of the fact that blockchains are very, very difficult to scale. And one of the side effects of that is as one becomes more and more popular, you end up seeing high fees. Fortunately, we aren't as affected by that as some other business models and industries and products are, just because most of the activity happens on platforms. So you really only need to deal with that when you're depositing, withdrawing funds. And then the concern is, similar to any other platform. But that doesn't really have a major effect on our kind of lending business. We're able to aggregate clients' funds together and send kind of single large transactions when we need to send them to or from our, trading partners, which means that high fees aren't as big a concern as if we were, some sort of business or product that had to deal with lots of frequent smaller transactions. So that's not a major concern of ours.
Nice. Okay, so if I was brand spanking new and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, I stumbled upon this and I want to go into Bitcoin. I'm Canadian. I want to go into Bitcoin. Can they buy the Bitcoin right off of your platform, or do they need a fiat on-ramp such as BitBuy or Shakepay or one of those ones, and then they have to transfer it in? Can they buy it straight from you?
You need to transfer it in. At present, we're not an on-ramp. That's something we absolutely do want to become in the near future, but it's not a service we offer at the moment. So as you said, BitBuy, Shakepay, Bull Bitcoin is another good option.
Yeah, that's what we. That was the first
out of Montreal. Yeah.
That was the first platform we bought Bitcoin with, was Bullbit.
Yeah, that's the one I often recommend to people. But Shakepay and BitBuy are great too. But yeah, you do need to use a fiat off ramp in order to send your funds to Ledn present.
But there's slightly bit confusion on that, because you also have USDC. So say I had US cash and I wanted to just open an account and send you US cash. I can't do that. I can only send it via USDC.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
again,
it doesn't matter how this works. You have to go to a fiat on ramp first.
Yeah. We are currently not an on-ramp for retail. And so you will need to acquire your coins somewhere else and then send them to us.
Okay. And then, so do you have those, I'm assuming you do, that KYC practice, which is know your customer. So
Yes.
what does that process look like? It's like you just have to send in, because see, I keep thinking, I have friends that are telling me, you have to dumb it down a little bit for us because we don't understand what you're talking about. So when we say know your customer, if they went to your site, what would they have to provide to you in order to open an account?
Well, opening an account is quite simple. You just put in the email and password. If you want to use any of the products, then as you say, you do need to verify your identity. Whenever you hear KYC or AML, these terms, it just means proving your identity. So for us, that means just giving us some basic information like your full name, your birth date, your location, where you reside, and then sending us a copy of ID. And then once you do that, our team will very, very quickly verify you, and then you're good to go.
That's that, and when you mentioned that about your team verifying stuff, I do note that, and I coming and leading up to our chat tonight, I did go on YouTube, for example, and I type in Ledn and see what's out there, and there's not a lot about Ledn, but the one recurring thing that I found, which was recurring in most of the YouTubes, was the speed of response from your team. Yep. Which is compared to, I mean, some of us folks here on the community can talk about, good Lord, it's like what I call a Mexican minute for some responses. From the other ones, it can be up to days, for
weeks, depending on it's hours with us.
Yeah, and the other thing was, which we'll get into in a couple of minutes, I know, was your sort of your lending and purchasing and borrowing sort of lines of what you do. But
so for those that are new watching this, and I know for the regular community, they're like, why is she talking about new people again? New people ask us questions, so I have to have answers for things. So what is that look like, the process? Like it, and maybe I should back up and say, to reiterate Tim's point, the fact that you're very quick at responding is essential in the crypto world, because people get nervous when they're moving money around. This already feels slightly sketchy to some people. So the fact that your customer service is very quick at getting back is a really key selling feature for this platform.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we take great pride in it. Our client success team are absolute rock stars. They're fully bilingual as well. Like a lot of our customers are, a lot of our clients are based in Latin America, and so probably about a good 40%, maybe half the Ledn team is our native Spanish speakers, and so we offer full service there in Spanish, and I believe Portuguese now. I'm not 100% sure, but I think if you submit in Portuguese, we'll get your response in native. But I don't know for sure. I got to look that one up.
What about French? What about French? Do you offer French?
French. We started rolling out. French service. I don't think we offer client support in French at present, but we have started translating material because we are Canadian, and actually, we do have a kind of a growing presence in Montreal from our team as well.
Are you present in the American market, the U.S. market?
We are, yeah.
Okay.
We like not all states, so unfortunately, New York residents right now can't use, our services, but our loans, but our interest accounts exist in many U.S. states, and it kind of, that anyone who's been following the news can see there's a constantly shifting regulatory environment there. And so we are a bit more cautious about where we go to, because the last thing we want to do is to stop providing service to someone who's started using us and loves it. But yeah, we are over time. We're expanding our products to more and more American states as well.
Amazing.
It's got to be on your radar about what's going on with the SEC right now down there.
Yeah. Yeah, we this isn't a huge surprise to our legal team, who's been following this stuff very, very closely, and we are personally not worried. We, again, as I said before, we've been quite conservative in the products we've offered, in the way we've positioned ourselves in different regions. How we market ourselves. So we future's bright for us, and we're going to do what it takes to be compliant and make sure that we can offer our service to as many people as we can. Yeah,
that's good.
From our friend Ryan in the chat, he has a question about the withdrawal process and how long it takes to verify. And I know Candace, birthday girl Candace, said that the long withdrawal process inspired her to leave BlockFi. She needed liquidity. That seems to be, from our community of viewers, anyways, that seems to be a huge thing. Is everybody wants to be able to get liquidity if they need to. So what does that look like in your world?
Sure. Okay. So 2 questions there. One about verification, one about withdrawal. I'll do verification first because it's easier. Verification usually takes a day, maybe 2, maybe less. If our team happens to be online when you submit it. But you're not going to have to deal with this. People had to deal with kind of these huge wait times getting verified on a lot of these platforms, especially during the last kind of bull market. You're not going to deal with that with us. We get that done very, very quickly in a day or 2. If it's taken a while, find me on Twitter, DM me, and I will take care of it for you. But that doesn't take long at all. Withdrawal generally takes about a day. So we commit to a 7-day period for withdrawals, but almost all of our withdrawals happen within a day, including weekends. We also do process them on often, yeah, and that's partly for security, and partly because these are savings accounts. It's not meant to be used as a wallet for everyday payments. Yeah. But we do our best to, security is number 1 for us. Right. And within that framework, we work very, very hard to process these extremely regularly. And again, the vast majority of withdrawals process within a day. Although in kind of rare circumstances, it can take somewhat longer.
Yeah, Tim just put in the chat your Twitter handle. And then Ryan's asked a follow-up question. He said, "Do I have to re-identify myself for a withdrawal like BlockFi?"
Yeah, it depends on the amount. I mean, if you've been using our platform for ages, you've never touched your coins, and then suddenly one day you want to withdraw all your funds, we may require you to identify yourself just for security reasons. Again, the last thing we want is to be able to let someone else withdraw funds. But that's not necessarily the case for normally. If you just need to withdraw a smaller amount, and there are certain extra security features you can add, like 2FA security and things like this that mean we're less likely to flag it to require identification. But it can happen sometimes.
So I don't know if you can answer this, but with BlockFi, for example, when I add a exchange or a wallet or somewhere that I want to transfer it to out of BlockFi, it takes, I believe it's like 5 days or 7 days, but it's to the minute, to the second for them to verify that new address that I want to transfer out to. And I know,
if you want to build a safe list of pre-approved addresses, you mean?
Well, it's just pre-approved. I guess I don't know that it's a safe list with BlockFi. It's just a pre-approved who have you used in the past. But to set that, if BlockFi is not the platform to use if you're in a hurry and you want to get the heck out of Dodge, because it takes, I believe it's 5 to 7 days to verify even where you're going to send it, right? And then there's time on top of that, once it's verified and validated, to have it actually get out and go to your new address. Whereas with Ledn, what I noticed with Ledn was that you have the, what did you just call them? The safe addresses? We
call them safe listing. There's different terms for some people call it white list, some people call it allow listing. We call it safe listing on our platform. That basically means you can set up several addresses that are kind of pre-approved for withdrawals, and then withdrawing to those addresses mean it's much less likely to get flagged for additional review.
So how long does it take for that to get verified? If we were to create that list, how long does it take? Do you know how long it takes on your end to validate that safe list for us, or who we've entered into the safe list? How long? It doesn't take 5 days, does it?
No, I don't. No, it shouldn't take 5 days. I don't know the exact amount of time we commit to off the top of my head, but
enough.
you're not going to be waiting a week. That kind of thing. Absolutely not.
Okay.
So just to verify for again for the new people that may wander in and find this, when you say addresses, you mean like
wallet addresses.
Address.
Long wallet address.
Like a cold address.
Address of anyone. I mean, I could be.
Would you mean another exchange too? Like I'm just trying to
anything
make
where I'm
sure.
transferring to is an address.
So okay, so if they buy from Bullbit or Shakepay or BitBuy, and they have an address where they bought that from, like where they use for the on ramp, they could put that address in and get it back out. They could use the off ramp. Same thing, right?
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, anytime you're doing a withdrawal, you have to provide a receiving address. That might belong to your cold storage wallet. It might be to an exchange if you want to do if you want to, change back to dollars. It might be, your hot wallet if you just want to withdraw some spending money. Any of those is going to be, a receiving address for Bitcoin or for your USDC. And, we don't know, and we don't need to know what the destination of those funds are. So all we see is that this is an address, and you can set up a list to make withdrawals faster. And
that's actually amazing. That's actually amazing.
So someone has left a comment here. The great white vapor. You have to remember these are crypto savings accounts. That's a very good point. Like, I mean, I want to make sure I'm setting up right expectations here. Like, you're not going to use this as your daily spending account. Don't expect to do several withdrawals a day or to get your funds within an hour or two. It does take a day. But that being said, not a week. That's that's our official commitment to do within a week. But it's quite rare. It takes longer than a day.
Well, once you've placed the order and the order's been sent or the trade's been sent or however we want to term that, it's right at that moment. It's just a matter of when we get our grubby little paws on it is a day or so.
So there's I'm not 100% sure I understood you, but there is a difference between when the withdrawal gets processed and broadcast to the network, and then sometimes during periods of very, very high traffic on the Bitcoin network, it can take a while for those transactions to confirm. We did have an experience back in spring when kind of Bitcoin fees shot way up, and there was a huge queue, and kind of the entire Bitcoin industry was dealing with this problem. Yeah. And so there were situations where clients are waiting for a few days for their funds to clear, sure. And we learned a lot from that incident. We've revamped a lot of things on our back end. I won't go into the really boring details there to minimize the chance of that happening further. We've added things like batching, where you kind of combine a whole bunch of withdrawal transactions into one. This allows us to process them more quickly, and we can save on fees, which means we can broadcast a higher fee, so it'll clear faster. So there's a bunch of things we can do there. So when I say though withdrawn within a day, that's by the time it hits the Bitcoin blockchain. Right. And again, the vast majority of times that means it's going to reach your wallet pretty quickly, just because normally fees aren't that high. We may see a scenario again in the coming months where suddenly fees skyrocket, and then just like everywhere else on the Bitcoin network, you may be waiting a while for confirmations. But over time, we, our engineering team has been, studying up and learning a lot about ways that we can mediate this. And it's a really interesting problem. I guess I'm hesitant to go into it in too much detail.
No.
This is perfect.
That's totally cool. Yeah, no, I mean, it's got to be. I mean, the wins and the sales change, every second with what crypto is, and that technical team has got to be, on their toes at all times, right?
Absolutely.
So I have a question. It's kind of controversial, so we'll just throw it out there, and maybe you have an answer, and maybe you don't. So
I love controversial questions.
I know, and if the viewers have, if our community has anything that they want to ask, feel free to throw it in the chat. So a while back, there was a big brouhaha about feeling uncertain with Tether, and Tether has, it seems like, a smoke and mirrors game going on, and people are nervous about putting their money in there, there's not a lot of liquidity really in that space. Like, they're false coins held, like, all backed by wrong things and backed by paper that doesn't exist and are rehypothecated multiple times. So just like the dollar. Well, exactly like the dollar. So, what we're kind of wondering is does the USDC have the same problem? Like, nobody's ever answered that for me. Is it as
Volatile?
Not volatile, but
Susceptible?
like sketchy? Like, is it rehypothecated the same way that Tether is?
I mean, it's been hard to measure sketchiness. I think it's pretty uncontroversial to say that there has not been nearly as much controversy around USDC as there has been with Tether. And in terms of percentage of stablecoin market share, USDC has been gaining on Tether quite a bit. And USDC is also, I believe it's based in the United States and has a reputation. I mean, this is not quite my area of expertise, but from my understanding, it enjoys a more comfortable relationship with American regulators, which is, I think, where a lot of this turmoil and uncertainty comes from with Tether. It's a lot less clear where these funds are based, and again, I don't actually have anything against Tether myself. I've used them quite a bit in the past. So I don't want to be like knocking them or anything, but the degree to which there's controversy there, I believe, is just not as present with USDC.
Right. And that's what Candace is saying too. She would trust USDC over Tether any day of the week. Thank you, Candace, for piping in on that. We appreciate that. And so
can I just jump in if I see more questions that I want to answer there? Because the Great White Vapor is asking a great one. He's asking if Ledn uses Google Auth app as part of security. Yes, we absolutely do. We do offer 2FA support using Google Auth. So
and the one thing I like about where did I see it? But it was with Ledn, is they said, we really suggest that you use the Google authentication as opposed to the SMS way, because it's
100%.
And I haven't, and that kind of hit me and going, well, of course, and then I went thinking back, and it's like, I really hadn't seen that push from anyone else. So I mean, it just shows this is to me one more way that you're sort of like, hey guys, protect your coins. You know what I mean?
This isn't even about Ledn. This is about just security in general. If you ever have the option to use 2FA instead of SMS, do it. SMS is like almost always the weakest 2FA method compared to like Google Authenticator, for example. The Authenticator apps are great. They're very simple to use. If you haven't used them before, just look up Google Authenticator, and there's simple explanations. The basic idea is that you'll get an app on your phone that has 6-digit numbers that are constantly changing, and you can just input those 6-digit numbers when you want to pass two-factor authentication. SMS is probably the method that kind of people are more familiar with. It's more common, where you submit your phone number, and then the SMS. You'll get texted by SMS the number. The problem with this is that phone numbers are notoriously easier to social engineer their way into. There are many instances of someone figures out what your phone number is and then calls your service provider, your telecom service provider, and convinces them that they are you, and then they get a new SIM issued to them, and they are able to then receive your texts. You don't have this type of security breach with Google Authenticator. Again, it's not perfect, but like with if you're ever given the option to use SMS or Google Authenticator, use Google Authenticator. Even email is better. Even email is better than SMS. So that's just general advice I would take with you, regardless of if you're going to use Ledn or not.
Yep.
So Kevin has a good question here, and I know we've talked a lot from the space of BlockFi to Ledn. So he's asking a question: why choose Ledn over Celsius? What advantages do you have over CFIs?
Over CFI.
Celsius.
Yeah, I mean, technically we are CFI. I know maybe that was a typo, but people often distinguish between DeFi and CFI. DeFi being the decentralized finance. Put that in air quotes because a lot of them are not as decentralized as they seem. But
right.
And so the Celsius and BlockFi and Ledn and would be considered CFI, centralized financial services. But I mean, like the number one thing that comes to mind is we do proof of reserves. I mentioned that earlier in the show. To anyone who missed it, it's a very, very easy way that you can verify your holdings through a third-party accounting firm. Armanino LLP is an accounting firm that provides attestations that our funds are properly accounted for. We were the first lender to do this. I believe we are still the only lending platform to offer this service, but this is peace of mind you don't find with any of our competitors. So that's one of the number one reasons to use us. We talked a lot before about how accessible our team is. We really strive to be the most transparent in the industry and reachable. If you message us, we get back to you fast. We also we haven't added a ton of coins, which is a disadvantage to some if you want to play with a lot of different cryptocurrencies. But again, that has been deliberate on our part. Because we don't want to be adding unnecessary risks or stretching our resources thin. We want to provide the best service for the products that we think are the most important. And as Candace says, with all being equal, I was select Canadian. That's right. We are based here in Toronto. We're home team.
So let's move to, because I found it very interesting about the borrowing and the savings and the B2x and stuff like that. And I know you'd kind of just said we'd get to it. So here we are.
Cool.
And the one thing that sort of resonated with me, and we had a guest on last week, David Cowan from Arc Vault Technologies. He said that basically it's not taxable if you're borrowing against your investment.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is the number one reason.
And that's what Mario had said at some point during the beginning of this all. So
yeah, I can go through that in a bit more detail if you like.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. So dollar loans, Ledn dollar loans were the first product that Ledn offered. I can give you a bit of backstory in the company actually. So our co-founders are Maurizio and Adam, and they both knew each other from Western University, and they Maurizio used to be into Bitcoin mining, and he ran into this problem where he was generating a lot of Bitcoin, and that he'd have to sell it right away in order to pay for the electricity, pay for a hardware costs to buy more mining machines, etc. And he really wished that there was some way he could hold on to the Bitcoin but finance the assets in order to fund his operations. And so I like to imagine they both did this eyebrow look at each other. I don't know if that's actually how it happened, but they ended up launching this service, which is you post your Bitcoins to us as collateral, and we will offer you a loan denominating that amount. It's very low risk for us because we're holding your coins. Bitcoin is highly liquid in that, if we need to, we can exchange that for dollars whenever we need to. So we're taxable events. That's where we're going with this.
That's right.
So yeah. So in the kind of the original scenario where you just have coins, you don't want to sell them yet to do some financing. There's also this issue where, like, let's say you've bought a few coins and or bought a bunch of Satoshis, and they've appreciated in value, and maybe you just need a few $1,000 for a few months. If you sell your Bitcoins, then you have to pay capital gains on those on whatever you earned in that time. And then if you buy back again later, you can't buy back as much because you've sold or you've paid some tax on it. Whereas if you're gonna be able to pay back the amount in a few months, you just post your Bitcoin to us as collateral. We issue you the loan. Once you pay back the loan, you get your coins back, and your coins have never been sold. So there's no capital gains event. This is a way, or also I should note that we do offer our product to all over the world. So this is going to vary region by region, but for most places, and including Canada, this is a way to avoid capital gains.
And And that's a big thing that we keep talking about on the community. When we look at it, a lot of people think of Bitcoin as a currency, but it's really an asset. If you look at it like that, it's no different than owning a home. And so every time you needed, if you wanted to pull some equity out of your home, you wouldn't sell your home and move someplace else. You'd go to the bank and you'd get a mortgage. You'd go to a non-conventional lender and say, here's my house. How much will you give me back? Now, I'm assuming from what I've seen from the other videos on the internet is that you have to have some Bitcoin in there as collateral, and you do.
You only do 50%, right?
No, yeah, they have to have $1,000 worth of Bitcoin to get $500 in a loan. Have I got that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, that's right. And then the 50% you referred, we call that our loan to value or LTV ratio,
Okay.
which is just the collateral. We offer you a loan based on 50% of the collateral. This is. Go ahead.
It's a 1-year term, correct?
It's a 1-year term. If at the end of that year you don't want to pay it back and want to keep it open, we can renew it for you.
Okay.
And if you want to pay it off, like say it was $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, you borrowed $500, and all of a sudden Bitcoin goes up in price, like goes through the roof, and you can at that point in time decide you want to sell some of your Bitcoin to pay the loan off. You can do that at any point in time in your process.
That's right. Yeah, and there's no penalty. So, even though our loans are for a 1-year term, if you want to pay it off after 3 months, you can do so, and you'll only pay off the interest on those 3 months.
That's awesome.
Pay what you use.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's very flexible. And there's no required monthly payments either.
Required monthly payments. How does that work?
Again, because these are over collateralized loans. So as long as your loan to value ratio stays healthy, you don't need to do monthly payments. It gets added to the amount owed, and you can just pay it off all in one go at the end.
So here's a good question that I was thinking too. So Ken's saying, are you still earning interest on your collateral when you borrow? So say you've got your Bitcoin in there and you go, okay, I've got my $1,000 worth of Bitcoin, USD dollars worth of Bitcoin sitting in Ledn. Normally, if you're just sitting there and you're not borrowing any money, it's earning interest. So Ken's trying to find out.
Well, you're making the 6.1% on the Bitcoin,
yeah,
if it's one Bitcoin. And in the same respect, what you're doing though on the loan is over the year, it's 11.9% with the interest and the service fees, correct?
It's
something like that.
Around there. Yeah.
It's like a 9% loan interest rate, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
now so the question is, if you earn interest on the collateral, the answer is no. Your coins are either in your loan collateral or they are in your interest account.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, and the reason is we technically could offer your interest on that, but then we would just have to charge a higher interest on the loan. What we do is when your coins in collateral, they do get lent out, and so we generate our interest on it ourselves. But what we do is we pass that on to our clients in the form of lower interest than we would otherwise need to charge.
Right. And that's no different than the traditional banks, because I used to work for one. So they do the same thing. They pay if for people depositing traditional fiat money into a bank, you're making a very, very, very small amount of interest on that. And then they turn around and take those deposits and they turn around and lend it out for more money. And that's no different here. Question from Natural Canadian, and it's actually a good one considering you're a Canadian company. Would you guys at least consider having TCAD as another option than USDC, which is I'm assuming the Canadian coin?
Yeah. So TCAD is a Canadian dollar pegged stable coin. So there are only two I know of. There's TCAD and then there's LCAD, which is the one Bull Bitcoin issues on the Liquid network. So we absolutely would consider it. It's not in the works at the moment. But there is client demand for it. We would be more than happy to look into it. But at present, all of our books are denominated in USDC, and
that makes sense because even though you're a Canadian company, you service anybody around the world can use your services.
We're a global company based in Canada. Yeah, absolutely. So whatever we offer is offered to kind of I shouldn't say that. Again, we have different products available in different regions, when we build our products, we do build them with the intention for a global market. But that being said, we are open to adding other assets. Just, again, we're not committed to staying with only BTC and USDC. We do expect to expand our product suite going forward. But it's just a question of if there is demand for it, what kind of resources we have available to deploy it. We more than happy to look into it.
Can you tell us about B2x?
Wait, before he goes into that, Candace had a quick question. She wants to know what the interest rate on the loan, on the lending is.
On the lending is? Yeah. So at present, there's an administration fee when you open and close the loan. I believe it's 2% on opening it. And then for the loan amount, it's 9%.
Okay.
So, and
So
again,
is the 2% a one-time fee and then 9%?
Yeah, that's right. And so the 9% is yearly, but again, if you pay off your loan early, you'll pay only a fraction of that, right?
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. So go ahead, Tim, ask your question about the B2x.
Yeah, so the B2x loan is our second loan product. So again, I just want to give a bit of background on how this product came to be. We discussed earlier one of the use cases for the dollar loans, which was to essentially get quick access to cash without triggering a taxable event or needing to sell your coins. But we found what some of our early clients were doing is they were using our loan product. They would post Bitcoin up as collateral and then get a loan in US dollars and buy more Bitcoin with it, and then post that Bitcoin up as a collateral and then get a loan again. And they would cycle this several times. This is something you would want to do if you're very, very confident the Bitcoin price is going to go up short term. Yeah. And so we decided we could automate this process for our clients. So a B2x loan is a loan where you post up your Bitcoin as collateral, and then we automate the purchasing of more Bitcoin for you with the loaned US dollars. And then that's automatically added to your collateral. So this, if you want to use our loan product to buy more Bitcoin using your Bitcoin as collateral, we will automate this for you. It means you won't have to withdraw, send to like another on-ramp and buy it, then move it back. It's all just in one go. And because we're able to add your newly purchased Bitcoin to collateral right away, it means that we can offer the loan is actually 100% the value of the Bitcoin you initially post as collateral. So let me break this down. Yeah. So let's say that Bitcoin is at $50,000 for simplicity's sake right now.
Okay.
And if you want to take out a B2x loan for one Bitcoin, you deposit one Bitcoin into your loan. We issue you a loan of $50,000, and then automatically we would purchase another Bitcoin for you and add that to your collateral. So you put in one Bitcoin, and now you have two Bitcoin in your collateral, and you have the $50,000 loan. So you could wait if the Bitcoin price goes up over time. Let's say it goes up to, let's say it doubles over, 6 months. It goes up to 100,000. You would only need to sell half a Bitcoin in order to pay off the loan, plus whatever interest has accrued. And then now you have, 1.5 Bitcoin, whereas before we just started with one. And now you have to be careful as well because, if the price crashes, you can get closer and closer to your loan to value ratio reaching 70, 80%, at which point we kind of start telling people they need to top up or we may have to liquidate. So you need to be careful with this. But this is a very efficient way to just finance your Bitcoin, to buy more Bitcoin if you are particularly bullish at a certain point in time.
Just initially thinking, this would be a really neat option in a way in a bear market when the price is low.
Yes.
Yeah. If a lot of our clients use it for that. If the price dips really low, we do get some really good interest in our B2X. And again, we tell people, please be careful. Don't YOLO with all your Bitcoins into a B2X. Right. We do not want to liquidate our clients. But if the loan to value ratio reaches 80%, we are forced to do so, just to keep our operations sustainable.
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, I should go into that in a bit more detail. In that, we do make a lot of effort to email clients once a loan to value ratio starts getting lower. If it gets down to only 70%. If your loan value is 70% the value of the collateral, we'll email you again at 75%. During price drops, we make quite a bit of noise on social media, reminding people to check the health of their loans. And ideally, if you're going to be using these loans, what you want to do is you would deposit coins in your savings account, and then take a fraction of that, and then take out a loan. And then it's extremely easy to top up your collateral from your interest account if needed. That's a lot faster and kind of happens automatically, instantly, rather than having to send more funds to Ledn when needed, which can be a bit of a harrowing experience waiting for confirmations. So that's cool. How we recommend or use it.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. B2X is kind of a cool, because I was getting that flavor as I was doing the research for tonight, and I'll be quite honest, I didn't do the research into the other platforms as to if they had any comparable offerings, if you will, but it doesn't matter whether they do or not, because it was really interesting that it caught my attention, and it was like a wow factor to me, and a very good opportunity at the right time of what you're offering through B2X.
Mm.
Okay, so again, going back to newbie land, where they're brand new, brand spanking new, and say they are somebody who's got quite a bit of money to invest. Just saying. And they want to, and it's scary for them because the price of Bitcoin is at 50,000 US approximately. Well, in my dreams, it's 50,000 US. Do you have a service where these people could call and deal with like an account manager, like they would normally if they called up to the Royal Bank, for instance?
So you're not going to get a dedicated support or account manager. No.
But can they call like instead of just an email in? Because a lot of people get very nervous about just transferring money on over without knowing that there's somebody on the other end of the phone that's picking up the phone. Yeah,
we don't offer customer support by phone at present, if that's what you're asking. No.
Okay. Yeah. It just, I'll tell a little funny story, and this is why I'm asking these things. So I was away this weekend at my aunt's cottage, and my cousin had to grill me about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. And his big thing is, well, how do I know if I actually have a Bitcoin? Well, how do you know if you've got a Bitcoin? And I go, well, how do you know if you've got a mutual fund? Like I said, how do you know you have a mutual fund? He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, how do you know? You're pushing me, like you're asking me how I know if I've got one. I'm pushing you back. How do you know you have a mutual fund or a stock? And so then it started to twig in me that where this is coming from, or why he's pushing like this. He's scared to death because he can call up and pick up a phone and talk to somebody at Manulife if he has to talk about his mutual funds. He can pick up the phone and call somebody at TD Bank and can talk. Part of what fear, I think, for a lot of people who are used to traditional banks and all that sort of stuff is not only can I not call, I can't go into a physical building, but I can't talk to somebody on the phone.
Yeah, it's just this faceless organization that's holding some numbers. Yeah, absolutely.
Random person, all this money that scares the bejeebies out of people.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. Like if someone's going to have that concern, probably they've got a specific concern. They're not just suddenly worried it's not there. There's probably something that's happened. They have questions they want to get answered. And so, for us, like the main thing is we want to be accessible and make sure that we can address people's concerns when they arise and quickly. I imagine one of the big benefits of talking to someone on the phone is that you get your answers right away. Whereas if you do it by email, you're going to be worried that are you going to hear back? Who are you talking to? Is an automated response? Again, if anyone has this particular concern, reach out to our support email. You can do this if you're just curious as a client. And and again, we can't commit to phone service. We do sometimes have calls with clients, especially if there's ever something that we cannot provide adequate service for through email. Like we do go that extra mile when it's needed. Again, I don't want to sit there and be like, yeah, we provide phone service because there isn't a number you can just call and someone will pick her up right away. But to anyone who's worried about that, try it out. You don't even need to get an account, but if you just have questions, reach out to us. We're visible. DM me on Twitter. Send me a message there. You can send an email to our team, and if it ends up being something, some sort of issue that you can't get addressed or can't get proper answer for, we'll go the extra mile.
Yeah. No, and as I said, we talk an awful lot about adoptability into the crypto space. And for me, I think the entry point for the vast majority of people is Bitcoin because it's what's familiar. They can kind of conceptualize what that is. Digital gold, they can conceptualize all that sort of stuff. So if we didn't talk about anything else and we only talked about Bitcoin, one of the things about adaptability to people that are from our generation, I'm curious about the future. I love innovation. I love talking about futuristic things. And that's why I get right into all this stuff and Decentraland and racing ponies. If Neil was here, he'd be talking about his digital horses and all that sort of stuff tonight. But for the vast majority of people that are of our generation and even slightly even younger than us that aren't even in their 50s, but they're in their 40s, there's this perception of, is this just something that you don't even own? Because how do you verify that you own it? And it was actually, if I could take a step back, it was actually a valid point he was making. when we were having the argument.
Do you actually own your house if you've got a mortgage on it, and yet you live in it and call it your house?
I mean, yeah, it's really interesting.
No, but you can see the house. You can see and touch it. You can go. Somebody can send you a stock, or they used to be able to send you stock certificates. You had it in your hand. That his fear was, I don't have it physically in my hand, and the only way you're telling me that I send things is through the internet to some random people that I can't walk in or talk to. So I'm just throwing it out there that when we're talking about adoptability by there's like my generation who is nearing retirement, there's a lot of money on the table there. And do you know what I mean? Like a lot of people are okay with just sending emails in, but then there's this whole other group of people that they don't understand this, and they would feel safer.
It's the people that like to walk into a bank and actually talk to a CSR.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. No,
Yes.
it's a big hurdle, just because we are building this entire digital economy. I mean, I thought your response to I believe it was your cousin saying, well, how do you know you own a mutual fund? Because actually technically talking to a person doesn't quite prove it either, but I get why it makes people feel more comfortable. I mean, this is a bigger challenge, and I think any single company is going to be able to take on. It's just overall, it's just a big one of those kind of hurdles that we've got to make, bringing Bitcoin to more and more people. But I mean, it's a great question.
Well, because Mario, do you ever get into situations, and maybe you do and maybe you don't, because maybe all the people that you're associated with are all funky and cool like you and get it, or are with it and are doing all that stuff. But are you ever in a situation like, I don't know, with your cousin who's in his 60s and thinks you're wrong about everything, and has that ever happened to you?
No. Oh yeah, no. I've definitely had a lot of these conversations with my extended family. Don't worry. I think even a lot of people my age, will be asked similar questions, and I asked similar questions too. Like when I first rolled up to a Bitcoin meetup back in 2016, and a lot of the questions were kind of like, well, how does it work with national currencies? And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I never really thought about that much in depth before. But no, these are very normal things I ask. I love hearing these questions actually, because it means people are actually being critical. This is almost better than someone just like diving in head first and buying a bunch without really knowing what they're getting into. So I mean, they're understandable questions. There's no clear answers, and that if you dig, we can get real philosophical and go into what is value anyways, which is kind of where this leads, and that ends up being really subjective in the end anyways. It's just and people don't know how money works in the background. They just understand intuitively that if I have this thing, I can exchange it for other stuff that I want. And I think that's going to do a lot of the heavy lifting here as it just becomes normalized. I think there's going to be a lot of not peer pressure, but just like social influence that if everyone else treats it like it's, got the value it says it has, it becomes easier to believe it then.
Acceptance.
I think that's,
exactly. Acceptance. It's social acceptance.
It's going to be gradual. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter, what avenue we use, whether it's fiat, whether it's gold, whether it's Bitcoin, it's all a belief.
Yeah.
It's all a belief. It's just a matter of, where's your strongest case?
Yep.
And what is the one that has the most social acceptance and the most logic behind it? Anyway, you can go down that rabbit hole. We're not.
Yeah. So Kevin,
I want to answer Kevin's question here. He's asking, what's our referral program like? I'm glad you asked. We have a referral program that comes automatically with anyone's account. So once you sign up and log in, you can just click, there'll be a prominent, click the referral button, and you'll get a sign-up link, and you can provide that to anyone else. So if a friend or family member uses your sign-up link and then takes out a loan, you will get a bonus just deposited into your account. And we are changing this as well, because it's a bit strange to refer people, hey, you should take out a loan with this company. It's a bit of a harder pitch than the interest accounts. So we're currently revamping our referral program. So soon you'll be able to refer people, and you'll get a kickback if as long as they deposit a minimum amount in their interest accounts. Yeah. But you can already start using those right now. You can log in. Once you create an account and pass a KYC, once you've verified your identity, you will automatically get a referral link that you can start using right away. Actually, this is like one of the ways that I learned a lot about Ledn early on, because I was one of the early clients. I was like, this is a great service. I got to tell more people about this. So I ended up using a referral link a bunch.
And the funny thing is that I've got a referral link in the description below.
What an organic plug! Great.
Do you really?
I
Very
sneak it in
smooth
there when I can. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, you know
And then,
what? This is how this like the crypto community grows, right? It's all people, because again, you go back to my conversation with my cousin who's mad on me on the dock about Bitcoin.
they're mad about it, yeah.
Well, not at me, not about it. And
don't go there.
anyways, family stuff. But here's the thing. How did we learn about it? It was from a trusted friend, because this is cryptic. So you're like, I don't know how to navigate this, and where do you go and where do you buy? And then they send you a link. But that's how the community grows, is through one friend who's had a good experience and trusts it and then refers it to somebody else. And it's nice to see that you're rewarding people who are referring other people, because because people helping people. That's what this is, peer to peer, right?
But
I was gonna say, this is why we take our client experience so seriously. Like, like we understand that like people are going to, people are going to tell other people what their service is like. And so, just like for anyone who's on the fence about like trying a platform, just like try it out with a small amount of coins. If you don't have to go all in, people are cautious about these platforms. You should be careful, do your own research and do your own homework. But just like give it a try with a little bit, contact the support team, see how fast they respond. See how long signing up and verifying takes. It's going to be really fast, and then let us know what you think as well if you have feedback.
And it's really interesting, because when we first started into this last year, and I was using Bull Bitcoin. Bull Bitcoin, is that what it is?
Bull Bit?
Bull
Bitcoin.
Bull Bitcoin. I went $50, and that was it. And
that's how you start.
I let it flow through and stuff like that. But the one thing I think we can all agree on, and our community knows this, but I'm going to say it again, is that only invest at what you were prepared to lose.
Yeah.
That is the responsible. And then to go to your point, Mario, is to say, do it, test out each point of contact with this platform. Customer service, send $50. Look how long it takes to do your verification and all that stuff. And that's proof in the pudding. I mean, they're not waiting for you to come and prove a point to you. That's just the way you operate your business, which is smooth.
Yeah. Kevin has a question. Is Ledn only a web app at this point in time?
Right now you're probably going to use us through the browser. We do have a rather bare bones app for your phone, but it's quite limited functionality. So at present, best to think of us as a web app. But again, that's just one of the many things we're going to be rolling out in the future. As our team has been growing, we're getting more resources to throw at these things. But at present, you can log in through the browser.
What's on? I mean, what is it that you can share that's on the possible horizon for Ledn?
Yeah, rolling out in more jurisdictions in the United States is top priority for us. We likely are going to be adding Ethereum support in the coming half year or so. We there's a lot we want to do. Like we often get people requesting Lightning support. That's not something we're adding immediately right now, but that is something we're looking to in the future. We want to self-custody our funds as well. At present, we use BitGo as our custodian, but we are now we're confident that we have the security expertise and to directly manage funds ourselves. So we're going to be moving towards self-custody. There's a lot of stuff in the works.
That's amazing. That's really, really amazing. So I only have a couple more questions. Do you like pizza on your or do you like pineapple on your pizza, or are you a no pineapple kind of guy?
I'm not a pineapple on pizza kind of guy. It's not for me.
Oh, good. Because the community, we have debates about these things. And how about do you like
divisive
mustard?
Questions.
That's right. And do you like mustard on your watermelon or no?
I'm not even a big fan of watermelon. I can't imagine mustard helping.
Don't do it. Jeez,
I have a strong opinion. I think honestly, I'm going to go there. I think watermelon is one of the most overrated fruits that exists. There's almost
vodka in it.
There's well, vodka I can see helping, but no, it's so watery. The texture's like okay, you got all these seeds here. No, I think I'd just rather have the mustard as is. That'd be yeah.
I made Tim try that on our.
This wasn't even a question, by the way. Candace just asserted it. He is a mustard on watermelon sort of guy. Not quite. Nice try, Candace.
No, me. She's talking about me.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, my bad.
I was the dope that did the taste test with 4 different mustards.
Oh yeah,
Why?
I made him do that.
What? Oh Jesus! Why? Would you do that to yourself?
It was because it was a thing, and Ryan
was no thing for me.
Ryan didn't believe from High Ride Channel.
It was a dare.
It was a dare a bit. And so I said we should do it anyways. Because I think what happens is at a barbecue, people are taking hot dog with mustard on it and the mustard drips on the watermelon. And that's what people started saying. Hey, don't knock it.
What are you going to?
Listen, it could happen if you're sloppy with how much mustard you put on your hot dog,
dear God,
and it drips.
I gotta say, I've never run into this particular problem in my life.
Me neither. I don't know what picnic she's at, but I'm telling you.
I mean, I guess I just don't eat the watermelon anyways. So
that's it. See, so he doesn't put the watermelon on his plate in the first place. So there you go.
Yeah, but then again, I can't imagine it being great on other fruit either. So
no, but.
We're going down a rabbit hole.
So my final question is, where do you think the price of Bitcoin is going to go at in the next before the end of 2021? Just personal opinion, and maybe how you conceive of why you think the price is going to be there.
I'm going to give you a real non-answer to that question. I have no clue what the Bitcoin price is going to do, short term or medium term. I am very confident it's going to be higher 5-10 years from now. That's my personal opinion. That's why anyone I'm recommending, yeah, I think we'll do okay in the next 10 years. Honestly, when I'm pitching to my friends and family, I generally say, as you said before, don't put in more than you're willing to lose. And I say, be committed to holding on to it at least 5 years. That's enough to ride out all these cycles. I have no clue. Anytime I've tried to predict what I was going to do short term, it has not worked out well for me. I will say that. So I don't want to pass on my bad opinions to everyone here.
So you said cycles. Do you think this cycle is going to be different because of the mass adoption by Michael Saylor and all these other guys? I just wonder if that's going to make a difference and have effect on this cycle that we're about to go through. I don't have an answer either on it.
I'm almost skeptical. I mean, I said cycle, so it's my fault. But I'm almost I'm not even that confident that things are going to continue in these steady 4-year cycles, like with the halvings and stuff. I'm like, we'll see. I'm not sure. I don't know. Keep a long-term horizon. Don't try and plan for what's going to happen the next year or two with Bitcoin. 10 years, maybe, but
and you're going to get caught if you're a day trader.
Yeah, 1 or 2 years is that's a short-term thinking. That's you gotta think longer term than that.
Right on.
Yeah,
right on.
No, I agree. And everybody knows we have these little tat-tats about whether or not I'll ever sell my Bitcoin. And I know, see, he's looking at me again because he thinks I flip-flop. I actually don't flip-flop.
No,
you're just trying to push
Bitcoin
me.
Bitcoin thing that got me.
So
my Ethereum, your Bitcoin.
See, it's going to be a problem.
No, it's no problem.
It's our Bitcoin.
We're just the SEC. We want a definition.
Oh, geez. Oh, geez. The darn SEC.
Anyway.
Anyways, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, Mario. It's really, really, really been a pleasure to meet you and learn about your product. I think I feel far more comfortable now moving some over from my BlockFi. I wasn't sure about this, but I think you've given me enough food for thought that it's made me more comfortable. So
I think it's been I think the community, and for those people who are here and will watch this in the future, it's been a great source of information and a lot of clarification. And sometimes more is less, meaning with Ledn, not as many coins. Less is more customer service and more profit and more ability to do things for the customer. So I think that everyone is on track there, and I admire you guys for that.
Thanks so much. Yeah, no, this is a lot of fun. I really appreciate you having me on, and I really hope people find it useful. Give us a try, guys. You're not committing to anything. You can take all your funds off and never talk to us again if you're not happy. But I kind of doubt that's going to be the case.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Just hang on, because when I end the broadcast, just hang on till I end the broadcast, because we'll just go offline and have a chat.
Sure.
Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in.
Thanks so much. See you next week.
And thank you again, Mario. It's Director of Community, and it's at Mario_Gibney for his Twitter. Twitter? No, Twitter.
That's correct.
Yeah, yep. Right. And, we'll hopefully have you back in the future when we've got more juicy things to talk about.
Would love to come back on. This is fun.
All right. Night, everyone. Hang on. Hit the button, Tim. Hit the button.